Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hoyt and Shane McKenna with Ascending Harvest coming to you with our daily live update on the Ascending Harvest project. Uh, Say hello to the folks, Shane.
Hello, folks. I hope everybody is doing well. I trust that you are well and happy that you're tuned in.
You're looking particularly regal today, Shane. And it's almost like you're on a throne. We should, I would get you a crown, but I'm a little concerned about the potential ego issues associated with that.
Yeah,
So
let's not do that.
let's not do that. Okay. Well, Shane's going to take a second and share with his different Facebook places while I give you a quick introduction. For those of you who don't know it, Ascending Harvest is a company that has developed new technology, human-powered hydroponics, that shows incredible promise. In fact, we are overly optimistic, not overly, but more than optimistic about our ability to help millions of families in developing countries and refugee camps and other areas where we find poverty, break out of the cycle of poor nutrition and poverty by giving them the opportunity to grow their own food. Shane's an absolute genius, invented lots and lots of things over the last few decades. One of the things that he has invented is intelligent grow media and human-powered hydroponics. We're going to talk a lot about intelligent grow media here in a second, but I'll give Shane just a chance to talk about the company while I go share with a couple of different groups.
Well, Paul, you'll have to show me where that link is because I can't find it on our page today.
What link is that?
The link to share I don't see our live broadcast on our page today.
It's on the Ascending Harvest page. I just found it. So refresh your screen. You should be okay.
That may be the problem. Okay. I can invent stuff. I just can't use it.
Well, and that's why we have a team.
Luckily, I'm not like Al Gore. I did not invent the internet.
You did not invent the internet. Neither did I. I started using it early on. I was around when it came out.
But I was too. Yes.
Yeah. We both look like we've been around for, at least that long. At least that long. So where were we? Oh, yeah, we catch each other on stuff. Shane caught me a couple of times yesterday, and I'm catching him too. Did you find it on your page okay, buddy?
Let me look again. I got to open up my other computer here in order to go there. And
just a second. All right. Well, I shared it on my personal timeline, and I'll share it in another group here in a second.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more now about what we're going to talk about here today. We do these live.
I can multitask.
What now?
I can multitask.
Good. We do these live updates for several different reasons. One, we really want you to get to know the two of us. I think Shane's a pretty cool person, and he tells me he thinks I'm a cool person, so that kind of balances each other out. Get to know us and get to know about this project because we're in the brand awareness phase of our crowdfunding campaign. We anticipate launching a crowdfunding campaign right now along about the middle of September using Indiegogo. Right now we want to get people to know about this project because we know that when you learn about the project that you're going to get excited about it as we are because this technology really is disruptive and it really does have an opportunity to make a huge difference in the lives of millions and millions of people. We're a humanitarian cause, determined, focused, passionate about doing everything we can to help, millions of families worldwide grow their own food. So that's kind of my 2 cents. Shane, share a little bit before we jump into the...
Yeah, this is something that I have been contemplating for decades, really. And it's so exciting to have invented the technology that we're going to talk about today about 4 years ago. And in that moment of invention and realization and then doing some prototyping and testing, it became very clear to me this is going to change farming. We're not just talking about humanitarian. That's where we're starting because that's so important. But we are literally going to change farming. And I know that's a very bold thing to say, but it's true. And I think after we share a little bit today and tomorrow about our Keystone technology, I think other people are going to start to get a glimpse of what that potential can be.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Shane. And let's just jump right into it now that we have shared our pages and fumbled around with the technology a little bit and got the folks listening very curious. We want to talk about intelligent grow media today. Shane has a couple of inventions that are in this company and many other inventions in other companies. But the cornerstone technology, intelligent grow media, is what really enables all of this stuff to happen. So today we're going to do kind of a live interview. I'm going to ask Shane some questions about intelligent grow media and soil and pretend that he's sitting on the couch with Oprah. I get to be Oprah. He gets to be Shane. I haven't played Oprah before, so bear with me. I'm going to do my best. Shane, you talk about intelligent grow media as kind of being a soil replacement. So let's start by talking about soil. I mean, what is soil in the first place, and where does it come from, and why do plants grow in soil?
Well, I have some really good background in this because the property that I grew up on, my grandparents' farm and ranch, there were two types of soil. There was lake bed soil, which forms the Badlands of Wyoming from an ancient lake bed. And then we had soil that was created by two ancient glaciers that moved the rock and earth down from the mountains and deposited it on our property. So we had these two distinctly different soils. One was almost exclusively clay. There was in that clay, because clay is so impenetrable, there was very little organic material in that clay. And so that was very difficult to grow in, and plants had a hard time getting a footing in that clay soil. And then the other soil we had from the glacier was mostly rocks and sand and gravel.
No.
And that is also very difficult for plants to get a foothold in. Now those glaciers, the most recent one was from the last ice age about 12,000 years ago. And so as the ice retreated, plants have had a long time to become established in both the clay and that sandy, gravelly soil. But just observing the land, you could see where plants were thriving and what kind of plants were thriving. And really, the thing that enables plants to thrive in both of those soils is the accumulation of organic material in that soil. And so when you get a ravine, when you get a low spot, places where the organic material can be washed into and is left there, that's where you see the growth. That's where you see the majority of the large growth. So all along inside the ravines and in depressions and on the downwind side of hills, you'll see a lot more growth than you'll see in other areas in those soils. And so I learned a lot just from the intrinsic value that was created naturally in the landscape I grew up on. But to go deeper into soil, soil is what covers the surface of our land, and some places don't have any soil because they're strictly rocks, and some places don't have suitable soil because there's too much alkalinity, like where I live now in the Salt Lake Valley. We have the Great Salt Lake, which is in the bottom of the Great Basin, and that is salty. There's so much salt in the soil that there's many places where very few things will grow because of the saltiness, and also that clay influence that I was talking about, lake bed clay, very hard to grow in. So having soil, almost everybody has access to soil, but can you grow in that soil? And what do you have to overcome to make that soil productive? And that requires a great deal of experience and knowledge and trial and error. And if you have access to it, soil testing, find out what the soil is missing, to find out what things might be in the soil that you've got to compensate for. And in third world situations, people just don't have access to that kind of science, and they don't have time to learn the process, because it's a long process to learn how to get the soil ready to grow.
That's a really great answer. I love all that information about soil. So we have clay soil, we have deep, rich, black soil, we have sandy soil. There's all kinds of different soils. And one of the challenges that families have, I would guess in refugee camps, certainly, and in other developing countries is, if they don't have soil right there where they are that is suitable for growing the plants that they need, they're like out of luck. I mean, they just can't go, somewhere else and make a farm somewhere.
Right. I was talking to one of the charitable organizations that we've been in contact with, and I asked her about traditional farming in her area. And in her immediate area, she said that the land is completely denuded. It is hard packed. There's almost nothing growing. And that's just because of the social environment, what people have had to exist with there. The land has not been used for growing anything. And it's just, the soil is more like pavement, because that's what it's been used as, is pavement. So for them to start growing a garden or farming, it's just such a arduous task to get from where they're at to start growing food that nobody is attempting it.
That is, that's a shame. Well, we're going to fix that in a little bit.
Yes, we are.
I read an article, I think it was a few weeks ago, that talked about, 3 functions of soil. One was delivering water. Second one was delivering nutrients. And the third one was providing an anchoring system for the roots of the plants so that the roots can spread out and grab hold of something, which gives the plant some stability in case of a wind or a rainstorm or something like that, so the plants just don't fall over on you. Is that basically it? Is that what soil does, deliver water and nutrients and provides an anchoring system for the plants?
And minerals as well, yes.
And that minerals and nutrients, is that a little bit different?
Yeah, when I talk about nutrients and minerals are the inorganic material that's in the soil that provide things like calcium and iron. And then we have the organic materials, which are essentially biomass that's been incorporated into the soil. A lot of people know that as mulch. The forest floor is rich with organic nutrients because it just keeps recycling itself.
Yeah.
And as farmers, that's what we try to replicate, is that highly productive soil. I should say organic farmers, what we try to replicate is that forest soil where we're using lots of mulch and where we're incorporating lots of biomass into the soil.
Cool. So why do we till the soil? I got 2 questions. One for 5 points and the bonus question for 10 points. So first question is, why do we till the soil? Why do you have to do that in the first place? And secondly is, why would you let a plot of farmland go fallow every 7th year or so?
So tilling the soil, that does a couple of things. And I have to say, there's a lot of farming methodology now where you don't till the soil, and that's something that I actually teach, is no-till farming.
Wow.
Where we don't disturb that upper layer of soil because we don't want to disturb all those microorganisms. But in order to get your soil to that point, you have to do a lot of preparation. So, and we don't have time to go into that today, but the reason that farmers have tilled soil is, one, to make it workable so that they can get their seeds into the soil. It makes it much easier to till a row and then lay your seeds in the row and then back cover the seeds. So that's one reason they till. The other reason, which probably was not obvious, and we probably didn't understand for a long time after we were already tilling soil. By the way, there's evidence of farming going back 14,000 years.
Wow.
So people have been farming for a long time, and they discovered that when they tilled the soil, plants did better. One of the main reasons why those plants do better is because there's air available. The air can get to the roots, and that air exchange to the roots is as important as the water and nutrient and mineral exchange as well.
Well, that's very interesting, and that's something I learned from you a little while ago, was, you know, the importance of delivering oxygen to the roots of the plants. I guess it kind of makes sense, but if a plant's, you know, in the air, can't it just get the air, the oxygen it needs from the air?
It does get most of its oxygen and nitrogen. Air is made up of oxygen, nitrogen, and other gases, and nitrogen's in a very important growing component for plant growth. But it also needs that air to the roots. And part of the natural system of plants is you see plants growing together in nature in guilds. So there's different species of plants intermingled. Mm-hmm. And part of that natural process is some of these deep-rooting plants and plants that have large roots that die off, and that root actually acts as a tilling mechanism, and then as that root dies off in the ground, it leaves space that air and water and other nutrients can get down into the ground. So one of the things we do as farmers to help aid that in new ground is to plant radishes.
Really?
And because those radishes will actually do that soil tilling for you naturally.
Wow. So when you pull up the radish to harvest the radish, it disturbs the soil, it leaves space for water and air, and does kind of a do-it-yourself tilling action, huh?
Or even if you just leave it in there, you take the top off the plant and cover it with mulch. That root will decompose and provide nutrients to the soil, but also allow a path for water and nutrients and biomass to get into the soil. And worms come along and eat that rotting root. And, it's a whole symbiotic system that happens here, that if we just observe nature and help systems do what nature does, we can grow healthy, nutritious, organic food without a lot of issues.
So I have this sense that the nutrients in soil comes from mulch and decaying vegetation, but it may also come from bugs and worms and worm
Yes.
castings, as they call it, and maybe other microorganisms as well. So soil can be very rich and complex in its nature, right?
Right. So the organic material in the soil is both plant and animal matter, the animals being insects and microscopic worms such as nematodes, and the breakdown of those organic materials is done by bacteria and by fungus.
Oh.
And both of those are important elements of the soil, and systems that are devoid of those can't actually leverage the organic material in the system.
Huh. Wow. So it sounds like there's lots of challenges when it comes to the composition of the soil itself. How much rock and minerals are in it, how much actual nutrients are in it, whether it's sandy, whether it's clay, whether it's hard packed or loamy or loose. There's a lot of different challenges, and my guess is that different plants thrive in different types of soil itself, right?
Yeah, but very much so. And so for the uninitiated, for the beginner to be successful on their own without having access to a lot of resources, educational resources of evaluation, it would be by pure accident that they got it right the first time.
Yeah.
And when you're in a survival situation, you don't want to accidentally get it right.
We'd like to have the probability of success be, a little closer to 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want to deliver systems that allow people to grow food regardless of their educational background in what the needs of soil are and how much water that plant needs.
I want to talk about just a couple of more things before we close for today. And for those of you who are listening, tomorrow we're going to talk about how Intelligent Grow Media addresses all of these challenges with soil that we've been talking about today. But I want to talk a little bit about soil amendments, and then I want to talk about watering the plants, overwatering and underwatering, and the challenge with watering. But first, soil amendments. So that's a term, by the way, I learned from you in our conversations over the last year and a half that we've been working together. I've heard about fertilizer and other kinds of things, and we put some citrus food on a little lemon tree we've got growing in the back of my house. Tell me about soil amendments and how you determine how to amend or enhance the soil.
Well, there's different types of farming, and I focus entirely on organic and natural farming. So what we use for soil amendments is we use biomass and biochar and natural ingredients. So we will select different amendments based on what our soil needs. We might need to put some iron in there. We might need calcium. We actually do need those things. So those are parts of the amendment. We'll put rock powders in there. We'll put manure in the soil. So in organic farming, we're using natural amendments that are pesticide and chemical free, and we mix those in wood, compost, mulch on top. These are all ways to amend your land, the technical term. But really what it is it's adding organic material and clean organic material so that your microbiology of your soil can do its best work. So if you're putting things in there that are chemical, you're actually harming some of that microbiology and the funguses and those things that help break down. For example, fungus is really important in soil because fungus is what transports the minerals in soil. And so fungus has this very important task in nature of transporting minerals. And if you put an anti-fungicide on your soil, guess what? Your plants have to work harder to go find the minerals that they need, so you're not going to achieve optimal growth. If with natural farming, we are using natural materials and organic materials to mix in with that soil and to lay on top of that soil to give our plants the very best chance. And we also grow certain plants like comfrey and other deep-rooting plants that are mineral accumulators, so we can bring those minerals that are deep, deep down in the soil up to the surface and recycle them, which is the role in nature of those plants and why you see those plants intermingled with other plants in nature.
That's all fascinating. Last topic, last question today. Talk to me about overwatering and underwatering. If I'm a farmer, lots and lots of farmers, for thousands of years, just kind of relied on the whims of Mother Nature to deliver the right amount of water to their particular garden or farm. And then later on, we got into irrigation systems and that sort of thing. But that still is a huge challenge for most farming environments, right? And in gardening environments, too.
Yeah, knowing how much water to deliver is entirely dependent on your soil. you could have soil that holds a lot of water, and it would be very easy to overwater that soil and drown some of your plants. Likewise, you could have soil that has very little organic material in it, and you could water and water and water, and your plants would struggle to get enough water because the water is simply flushing down through the soil and not staying in the soil and providing that consistent moisture level that's going to optimize that growth. So watering is highly dependent on what kind of soil you have and what kind of plants you're growing. And that, again, is part of the art of being a farmer, the learned art. It's something that requires a great deal of experience and some trial and error, and observing your plants and saying, hey, these plants are suffering from not having enough water, or these plants are having too much water. Now, here in the developed world, we're getting all kinds of great instrumentation and technology that's helping us with these things, which is helping to bridge that learning gap. But the undeveloped world doesn't have access to these tools, and frankly, their economy can't support these tools. So even if they had access to them, they wouldn't be able to sustain it at this time.
Yeah, here in Innovations in Ag Tech have planes flying over, satellite imagery, drones, all kinds of things that, with electronic and digital technology can take a look at the land with infrared spectrums and other kinds of light sources and kind of determine what the water content is of the land. And like we see in the commercials on TV, Watson says you need to put a little more water over here, in plot number 5 or something like that. But again, families, in developing countries, refugee camps, don't have any of the advantages we have in modern farming here in the United States.
Right.
Yeah, awesome.
And like I said, they can't economically support those things. So if those systems are in place in the developing world, they're there because there's a continuous stream of support going into that system. It's not being supported by the local economy.
That's great. I want to recap here today. So as we talked a lot today about the functions of soil, about how it delivers water, mineral, nutrients to the plants, and about how it provides an anchoring system for the roots of the plants. We talked about the challenges of farming and gardening in really understanding what kind of soil you have, and understand, how can you amend the soil with organic materials, and different things to supplement the natural content of the soil. How do you determine whether a plant's overwatered or underwatered? And tomorrow in our Zoomcast, we're going to talk about how your innovation, your invention, Intelligent Grow Media, replicates the functions of soil, and also addresses all of the challenges that we see with normal gardening and farming. I'm very excited about that. And you folks who are listening today, I know that you'll want to tune in tomorrow, because that's when we're really going to kind of open the kimono and talk about this wonderful, wonderful invention, Intelligent Grow Media. But before we leave today, we want to do what we normally do, especially when Shane reminds me that we should normally do it, which is we want to award a prize. We want to award a human-powered hydroponic system to one of our listeners, one of the people who's gone to ascendingharvest.com and signed up for our list. If you haven't done that already, please do so, because we want to keep you informed of the status of the project. We've got a newsletter going out a little bit later on today that will bring people up to speed. We try to send one out about once a week or so, but it also gives you an opportunity to win prizes like your very own human-powered hydroponic system to be delivered when these things get out of our first manufacturing run. We now expect in Q1 2019. The way that we do that is if you sign up for our list, I export all the names. I sort them in, I give them all a random number at least a couple of times, put them in order, and then Shane goes in and draws a random number between 0 and 10,000 or 1 and 10,000, shares it with me, and I've got this cool little spreadsheet that tells me who the winner is, in a matter of seconds. So Shane, you're on, buddy. Give me a number between 1 and 10,000.
Okay, I'm going to generate the number here. And the number is 3322.
3322. And the person with the number closest to 3322 and only 23 points away is Frank Wells. Frank Wells with World Power and Water is a guy that we met, or I don't know if you met him or not, but I met him in the CEO space community probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. He's very specialist in nonprofits, and it looks like he's got a little project going with Power and Water too. So congratulations, Frank. We'll send you an email right away and let you know that you're a winner of the human-powered hydroponic system. And of course, we want everybody to be winners of that. Go to ascendingharvest.com, sign up for our list, go to our Facebook page and like us there on Facebook, share these posts, these Zoomcasts, which will be on that Facebook page. Please go also, by the way, to our YouTube channel, which you got to look up because we don't have a URL. But go to our YouTube channel, just type in the words Ascending Harvest. You'll find us there with copies of all of these Zoomcasts and another video or two. And so please subscribe to the YouTube channel because we need to get 100 subscribers in order to get a custom URL on YouTube. So please do that. We're up to like 33 or 34 so far. So we need for you to subscribe to that for us too. And tune in tomorrow when you're going to learn about how intelligent grow media, replicates the functions of great soil and addresses all of the challenges that people find in soil. I can hardly wait for that, Shane. I'm really looking forward to that.
Thank you. I'm really excited to share this information. Our patents are finally filed, and we've improved it to the point that I think we are absolutely ready to pull the curtain back and share with people this absolute innovation in farming.
I look forward to that. And by the way, for you listening, none of this was scripted. I just started asking Shane questions. He knows all this stuff off the top of his head and so much more. I'm always impressed. Seems like every day he comes up with another bit of knowledge that he's gained somewhere along the line in his 200, 300 years on this planet.
Yes, I'm a wizard.
Shares it with me so we can share it with you. So join us again tomorrow. Thanks again. This is Paul Hoyt and Shane McKenna saying goodbye. We will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Yeah, bye-bye.